We're talking about bison burgers, aren't we?
We're getting hungry. Are you getting hungry? Because we are. You can hear our stomachs growling on here.
Well, we want to introduce a new friend to our show. His
so we
name
need
is
something
Jim,
to drink with that.
Yeah, Jim Blansit is here. And you have a distillery.
That's right.
A distillery.
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought?
Well, we're in the Ozarks.
Okay.
It'd been too long since
Kind of
anybody
goes hand in hand.
legally
Well, we know of
produced.
a lot of people that are not in history books that used to raise. No, I'm not going to say raise, but they did a little moonshining back.
Of course, back then it was
back in Newton County.
Sure.
So you're doing kind of the same thing, but on a legal.
We do
platform.
the same thing. We're just permitted through the federal
Okay.
and state and county governments, which allows us to do the same thing the old timers have been doing for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
We just don't have to hide in the woods any longer. We
Yeah.
can actually invite people to come see us.
What was your interest in starting this?
You know, growing up in the Ozarks, the culture, we've always been surrounded by moonshine and the mystique and the lore, and growing up on a farm.
And so, the word spread that some of the best was distilled that way.
You know, here in the Ozarks, you have to have good water to make good whiskey. And with the limestone that we have here, it's full of calcium and magnesium with no iron. So the settlers, the old timers who found our water, knew that they could make good corn whiskey here.
And that's what you do. Do you make moonshine too?
We do. Moonshine, of course, is our main product. And moonshine is a term that I use to describe our corn whiskey.
Okay.
We produce corn whiskey and we sell it unaged as our moonshine product.
Unaged.
Unaged. The corn whiskey, the moonshine can go into a barrel, a charred white oak barrel, and become bourbon after 2 years of aging.
Okay. All right.
The other thing about the Ozarks, our white oak trees are world famous for making the best whiskey barrels.
Wow.
So the old timers had everything they needed. Throw some corn in the
Exactly.
mix and some incredible whiskey
They were
was made.
in heaven back in those days, and that's probably why they didn't want to. They didn't want to give it up when the revenuers came by.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to. You brought a huge display of some of the products that you brought with us. We'll talk about that. But I want to know more about Copper Run Distillery, where it's at.
Sure. We're located 10 miles north of Branson, right off of Highway 65 on the west side of Walnut Shade. So 176 West, just a couple miles, and you'll find us on Day Road. We're open every day from 10 until 7. And when family and folks come to see us, we offer tours. So we take everybody and show them the still running and explain the process, answer questions, and then everyone gets a sample. Everyone 21 and above gets to try a little taste of what we produce there. And then if you have time, you can sit and enjoy a moonshine margarita or an apple pie or
neat. Cool.
some of our homemade, handmade cocktails. And of course, we have food and live music. So it's sort of a destination.
So it's quite a big operation.
It's more than just moonshine. We have a lot to offer people to come and see us.
How many employees do you have there? How
There's 6 of us that work full time, and then there's lots of other people who come to help. My parents live nearby, and the distillery is actually located on my great-grandparents' property. So mom and dad actually raised the 7 brothers and sisters there on the property and live down in the valley. So mom and dad work there all the time. So 8 employees, including mom and dad.
Did mom and dad have any experience in any distilling back in those days? Or
great grandpa?
that you could
You
admit
know,
to?
my father's going to love me mentioning this, but back in the 70s, you know, during the gas crisis,
I remember that.
people were interested in making their own ethanol.
Ethanol, yeah.
And I think I was 10 or 11 years old, and I remember my father experimenting with a batch on the old-fashioned wooden cook stove.
And that's what he told you anyway.
That's right. It was for the car. But I remember the way it smelled, and Dad would light it on a spoon, and it would have that beautiful blue flame. And my younger brother John and I actually got to taste a drop on our tongues. And of course, I never forgot that experience.
No doubt.
It was nice to build upon those wonderful memories as a child.
Now, do you distribute all over? Or what is your states or national? Or how's that work?
It's been a great pleasure for us to sell everything that we produce right there at Copper Run.
Okay.
So you can come to us and try a sample and try a cocktail, and then take your favorite bottle or 2 home with you. So we retail the spirits that we produce right there at Copper Run.
You produce it and distribute it right there.
That's correct. Now we are expanding, and we are looking forward to producing more to where we can begin to distribute to bars and restaurants in the area.
Well, that'll be nice. That'll be a great start for you.
Yes.
Well, let's take a break, and I'm excited to get on that side of the room because we have a great display of the Copper Run alcohol.
That's right. We
distilled alcohol that you produce over there.
Brought 3 of our spirits, and I'd love to mix some fresh moonshine margaritas for you.
Okay, well, we'd
I'd
love
to
to
try one.
sample some of that.
All right.
Thanks, Jim. We'll be right back.